now that you've had the kind of success that you guys have had together, how much does that impact your ability to do even more this year? And when you envision what ultimate success looks like, what does it look like to you?
Ultimate success would be an NBA championship. I think our timeline probably got sped up a little bit given our success from Christmas on of last year. But we all recognize that we have more to do. The East, for as much as it gets knocked, has a bunch of really good teams. The regular season will be very competitive, and I think our goal will be trying to get home court for as many rounds as possible.
Jess Camarado for USA Today. JJ, ultimately, what was it that brought you back to Philadelphia for this season?
I think going into free agency, I wanted to come back here, and I knew that whether we got LeBron or Paul George, it was going to be on a one-year deal, which, given the market, I was more than comfortable coming back here on a one-year deal. I think for me, it was the chance to continue to build something here, the chance to win, the chance to play with all these young guys, and the chance to play for Brett again was also big. I think there's a familiarity and a continuity that you want in your career, and whether that's playing at Wells Fargo in front of the Philly fans or coming to this practice facility every day, that was something, that feeling, it was something that I wanted again.
JJ, Yaron Weitzman, Bleacher Report.
What's up, bud? How are you?
Good. What about you?
Good.
This team is kind of entering a season here with expectations for the first time in years. That's something you've dealt with before. I don't know if you've spoken to anyone yet about that, but what are some piece of advice or things you would talk about in terms of attacking that?
Yeah, we haven't been together as a team yet. First time will be tonight, so haven't spoken to anyone about that. I think the best piece of advice that I could give, and I know Brett will speak in some way to this, is there's internal expectation and then there's external expectation, and ultimately our team will have to figure out what our internal expectation is and block out all of the noise that comes with the external expectations and really focus on that internal goal, whatever that may be. I think it will be an NBA championship, but that should be our focus. And we live in a 24/7 news cycle where you hit a 2-game losing streak, you get off to a slow start, you lose to the Celtics twice in a row, people chatter, and we have to be able to block that out and ultimately just focus on sort of what that end goal is, which is winning an NBA championship.
Hi, JJ. Sarah Todd, Philadelphia Inquirer, Daily News, and Philly.com. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on having another Duke guy in charge here.
Well, if there's anything I've learned over the last, 17 years, it's that the Duke Mafia is everywhere. It's a very real thing. So I'm glad we were able to put one of our guys in place. No, I'm kidding. EB is, I've known EB for 15 plus years, and really happy for him, really proud of him. He doesn't even know this, but he was a bit of a mentor to me early in my career. When I would run into him in the off season, he always gave me some sage wisdom and great pieces of advice. And I think it's remarkable to see his rise within this organization, and it speaks to who he is as a person, who he is as a man, and who he is as a leader. And couldn't be more excited for him.
JJ, John Schumann, NBA.com. Do you as an individual or you guys as a team focus on how you fell short against Boston, going into the summer and going into camp, or is that just you shouldn't worry about specifics of that series and just sort of focus on how you guys get better as a whole?
I think you have to do both. You have to do both. I know, again, we haven't met as a team, But I know last year, our first meeting when Brett talked about making the playoffs, he broke down blow-bys and turnovers. And if we can eliminate, 2.3 blow-bys per game and 1.9 turnovers per game, that equals 5.2 wins. And, we're close then, So I'm sure he's got some sort of algorithm for beating the Celtics. But, that can't be our sole focus. So the second part of that, of course, would just be trying to get better every day and trying to put ourselves in a position to get a high seed in the playoffs and get home court.
Michael Kasky-Blomain, ESPN 97.3. JJ, there was a report over the summer that you were pretty close to signing with the Pacers in free agency. I was kind of just wondering, how close that actually came, and if there was ever a point that, mentally you were kind of prepared and thinking that, you might not be back in Philadelphia this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this a few times throughout the summer, most recently on Zach Lowe's podcast. I mean, there's no reason to really rehash it. Training camp starts tomorrow, so I'm here. I'm excited to be here. Like I said to Jess, this is where I wanted to be.
JJ Howard, Magdal with the step back again. Just a year ago, obviously, there were so many unknowns here. I'm wondering, what's the level of comfort? What's going through your mind on the ride down from Brooklyn, to practice every day? And how much more pleasurable is it to have everything in place and know sort of what your goals are and where you are?
No, it's a great question. I was actually thinking about that this morning. The first, I felt like first 2 or 3 months of the season, I was just sort of figuring things out. My youngest was still waking up in the 5s, if that makes sense. 5:15, 5:30, and then you scramble to get out the door by 7. And I feel like during the second half of the season, I got into a nice rhythm. My family and I know what to expect now. We're going to have a team meal tonight. I'm staying over in Philly tonight, and leaving this morning, my kids and my wife, it wasn't a big deal. Like, it was just, he's going to be gone and he's going to be back tomorrow night. So there's a rhythm to it now that I have, and it makes things a lot more comfortable. The other part of that, just beyond just commuting, is the familiarity you have with Philadelphia, with coming to this practice facility every day, the people you see every day. It's irreplaceable. It's really just a great feeling to have. All right, thanks.